What's going on, guys? This is LakerNation1999 here back with another video. We're going to be doing the NBA playoff predictions. As they currently stand, there's still 3 to 4 games left. But as it sits right now, it's pretty likely this is how it's going to be. There might be some teams jumping from this spot to this spot, but we're going to start with the West. There's a lot of good teams in the West. The East is more stacked this year, in my opinion, but we're going to start with the play-in game. Lakers look like they're done. The Spurs have to just lose like almost every game, which I don't see happening. So it's going to be them and the Pelicans in the play-in, ninth and 10th seed. And for you guys who don't know how the play-in works or it's new or you haven't really kept up, pretty much the 9 and 10 seeds will face off. The 7th and 8th seeds will face off. The winner of the 9 and 10 will face the loser of the 7th and 8th. The winner of the 7th and 8th will advance to play the number 2 seed, which is the Grizzlies. So we have the Pelicans and the Spurs, two young teams, not a lot of experience. Pop, of course, an experienced head coach, won multiple championships with the Spurs. Could be his last year. They said next year could be his last year. We'll see. Spurs and Pelicans. Pelicans, great move getting McCollum. Excellent trade for them. He's really made a difference. I'm going to go Pelicans in this game because I think they have more offensive firepower. I think they could really beat the Spurs. The Spurs got some good players. DeJounte Murray's good. Doug McDermott. Jakob Portal. There's a lot of good players, but I think Ingram and McCollum are going to have huge games and carry the Pelicans to advance in the play-in. Spurs could win, not counting them out, but I think the Pelicans have more veterans and more guys who can step up when they need to. But that game could really go either way, so I see Pelicans winning that. And for the other play-in, I see. Let's see. We have Timberwolves, Clippers. I see the Clippers winning that just because of experience. They have Paul George back. They have great chemistry. Paul George looks like he's fully healthy. I would say fully, but he's back to being Paul George. He was great in the playoffs last year. I think the Clippers will beat the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves a lot. I really want them to succeed this year. I've been a huge fan of Cat. I think he finally had some help with Anthony Edwards and Jared Vanderbilt and Patrick Beverly and D'Angelo Russell. So, I mean, Timberwolves, they could pull out an upset. I wouldn't really call it an upset. I feel like a lot of people are going to vote more for the Spurs since they have that experience and stuff like that. So I'm going to go Clippers advance to play the Grizzlies. And for who wins between the Pelicans and the Timberwolves to get the final spot to play the Suns, I'm going to go Timberwolves. I feel like Cat's going to have a big game. I feel like Patrick Beverly's going to have a huge game defensively. I feel like D'Angelo's going to have his big shots. I just feel like the Pelicans and T-Wolves going to have a close game. I just feel like it's a T-Wolves time to make some noise. Pelicans could be next year if they get Zion back or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I see the Timberwolves pulling out a victory against the Pelicans. Those are two teams I like to root for. You know, my boy Lonzo's on the Pelicans last year, so I always root for them. But yeah, that's how I see that play-in situation go. I know some people don't like the play-in. I think it kind of gives more teams opportunities to be involved. I know LeBron said he hated the play-in idea, but I think it's a good idea. It ain't like those teams are getting guaranteed spots. They're still fighting for them opportunities, and those are 4 teams who all could use an opportunity in the playoffs. So then we have the Suns against the Timberwolves, how my predictions have went. And I see the Suns winning that. I mean, I don't see the Timberwolves being able to beat the Suns. I don't see a lot of teams in the West being able to beat the Suns. Maybe the Warriors and Grizzlies are the only two I see personally. I feel like the T-Wolves will put up a fight, but I feel like the Suns are just going to outmatch them. The Suns made the finals last year. I mean, they have Chris Paul. I know he's been hurt. I know he's dealt with playoff bad luck. Could have won a few championships with the Clippers, injuries, but you know, he ain't the only guy on that team. They got Devin Booker, they got DeAndre Ayton, they got Jay Crowder, they got Elfrid Payton, who's played good. So I think the Suns are going to be the team to beat when it comes to the West. So I'm going to predict the Suns. Then we have the Mavericks and the Nuggets. The Mavericks have played really, really well. I love watching Luka play. I think he's finally taken that challenge. He came out the gate out of shape. His conditioning wasn't very good. I think he's finally getting his body back into shape, and he's been electric for the Mavericks. They have a great team. Porzingis got traded. I heard he was toxic in the locker room, so it's a great team they got. The Nuggets are no joke either. They're always good. I feel like they're kind of slept on because they're not one of the major market teams. You don't really hear the media really give Jokic his credit or anything. MVP last year, could win MVP again. That's going to be a series to really watch. I mean, it's a tough prediction, but I'm going to go the Mavericks pull this one out. I think the Mavericks are for real right now. I think they're going to carry that momentum into the playoffs. I think Luka's going to play out of his mind like he always does, and they're going to advance to play the Suns. And then we have the Warriors and the Jazz. Warriors have had trouble staying healthy. Curry's played less and less games. You have Clay come back from injury. Draymond, even when healthy, hasn't been the same Draymond. Wiggins has been good, but can they stay healthy? That's the huge thing for the Warriors. Can they stay healthy? And if they do, I see them beating the Jazz. If they don't, then the Jazz pull out the series win. The Jazz have a lot of good players. This is kind of a do or die playoff run for the Jazz. I mean, if they don't have good success, I mean, I think they're going to trade Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. I think the Bulls could use Rudy Gobert. I think the Mavericks could use Rudy Gobert. The Raptors could use. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would be interested if they trade Rudy Gobert, but this is the last time that partnership. They get a first round exit, it's over for that duo of Mitchell and Gobert. So really a huge series for the Jazz. I'm gonna predict Warriors though, if healthy. That's a huge if healthy. And then we have the Grizzlies and the Clippers. Since I said the Clippers would win the play-in to face the Grizzlies, I see the Grizzlies win that. I know the Clippers had the experience with the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies are for real. They're playing good without Ja. And the only question I have is if Ja gets hurt, can the Grizzlies play well in the play? They play well in the regular season, but the playoffs are a different animal. Can they keep that consistency in the playoffs? But I'm predicting the Grizzlies. I love their team. I think Ja's the real deal. Health's a concern sometimes with him, but he hasn't had many major injuries. But they played well without him. They play even better with him. They have shooting. They have defense. They're young. They're confident. Desmond Bane's been fantastic. Steven Adams was a great addition. I love the Grizzlies team they put together, so I'm going to go them and make it them and the Warriors. And for the Suns and Mavericks, I still got to go with the Suns. You know, it's hard to go against the Suns right now. They're playing so well. Like I said, the best team in the NBA. They're going to be hard to stop. They got shooting, they got defense, they're fast, they got playmaking, they got leadership in Chris Paul. I think they might make the finals, but I see them beating the Mavericks. The Mavericks are going to put up a fight. It's going to be hard for them to stop Luka, but it's going to be hard for the Mavericks to stop CP3, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker. So I'm going to go Suns make the conference finals. And the Warriors and Grizzlies, that's a tough series. Health's a concern for both teams. More for the Warriors because the Grizzlies have played well without their key guys. I'm gonna go Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are gonna pull out a shocker. I think they're gonna be they're gonna be this year's Suns team, a team that nobody really expected into the season being a playoff team. I think them young teams are nothing to mess with. That they have great coaching, and I think the Grizzlies are gonna pull out a win against the Warriors in that series. And I think John Morant's gonna show that he could be really one of the top 5 players in the league in the next 3 years, possibly in a shorter span than that. I mean, John Morant's just unbelievable. I mean, he's starting to shoot now, and that's a huge thing for him. And the Grizzlies and the Suns, I mean, I got to go Suns will make the finals. I think the Grizzlies are going to gain some experience from this. I think they're going to really show they belong in the playoffs and in the West discussion every year. And I think in the offseason they're going to add a few more pieces if they want to and go from there. I think that's going to be a great series. I see the Suns advancing to the finals. Again, I could see them winning it. They have the team. They have the coaching. They have a good bench. They're deep. They added Torrey Craig. They added, a lot of guys in the offseason. It's just a tough team. Tough team to beat the Suns. It's just going to be hard to beat that team. And for the East, in the play-in, we have the Hornets and the Nets and the Cavs versus the Hawks. Now, for the 9th and 10th spot, the Nets, same thing with the Warriors. It's just health. Kyrie, him and KD have been healthy for the most part this year. I know KD had that knee injury that kept him out, but that's really been it. But that's the huge concern. Last year, the Nets looked like they were favored to win, and injuries cost them. Harden was hurt. Kyrie was hurt. It's just injuries have really held this team back, and Simmons ain't going to be able to make the play-in. That's a huge part of their team, especially defensively. I don't know how he's going to be really offensively, not playing for a while. But I'm going to go Nets. Hornets, I love their team. LaMelo, huge fan of all the Ball brothers. I think they play the game the right way. It sucks Lonzo can't stay healthy, but I think the Nets will pull us away. I think the Hornets will put up a fight, but I just don't see them stopping Katie or Kyrie, or Patty Mills might have a huge game. Andre Drummond will have a huge game rebounding. I see the Nets pulling away to advance in the play-in. And then the Cavs and Hawks game. Hawks very disappointing this year. It's good they're in the playoffs, but Trae Young's really been the only guy consistent on that team. And the Cavs have been really the shock of the NBA. I know they've kind of struggled lately. They were in like 4th or 5th in the East. Now they're in the play-in. But, I mean, the Cavs are the real deal. I love their team. I love the energy they play with. Kevin Love accepted a bench role, and it's been the best decision he's made. He's been a great contributor off the bench. They got Lowry Markkinen from the Bulls in the offseason. They got Karis LeVert at the deadline. They've really made this team young, athletic, big. Evan Mobley, potential Rookie of the Year candidate. I mean, they got a great team, great team, and can't wait to see what they do in the future. I see the Cavs winning this game. I mean, Trae's going to have some help. They're going to win this game. I'm not counting out the Hawks. They have played a lot better since the trade deadline. But I see the Cavs. I think the Cavs are going to ride this momentum into the game against the Celtics. And that should be a good series. And then for the Hawks and Nets game, I see the Nets winning that. I mean, the Hawks aren't really known for their defense, and you got to be able to guard KD. I think KD's going to light it up. Like I said, if injuries don't screw with the Nets, then I see them advancing to play the Heat in the first round. So here we go, first round, Heat and the Nets. If this happens the way I predict, I'm going with the Heat. I know people think I'm crazy. The Heat are the first in the East. I know they had that incident with Jimmy Butler and Adonis Haslem and Eric Spoelstra and all them, but they're great defensively. They played my Bulls the other day, shut them down. They'll trap you. They'll blitz you. They'll run a zone. I mean, they're going to make KD pass the ball. And is anybody else in the Nets going to be able to carry without KD putting up 30 or 40? I don't know. Kyrie possibly. But they might just trap Kyrie and KD and say, hey, rest of y'all shoot. We're okay with it. That's what the Heat do. They're great defensively. Tyler Hero's been great. Jimmy Butler's been excellent. They added PJ Tucker. They got Bam. They got Duncan Robinson. I know he struggled this year. They got a great team in Miami, and I see them advancing. And then we have my Chicago Bulls against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I hate to bet against my Bulls, but for some reason they cannot beat Joel Embiid. They're like, I don't know, 0-12 or some shit, and since Embiid's entered the league, I don't see anybody being able to stop Embiid unless they just double. But the Sixers have a lot of good shooters: Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris. I just don't see the Bulls being able to compete. And the Bulls don't have very good defense. Lonzo's shut down for the rest of the year. That's terrible news. He was such a vital part of the defense. I wish Zoe would stay healthy, but it's not looking good. He's been hurt a lot. 2 knee surgeries. He continues to have discomfort in his knee. So that's a huge loss for the Bulls. Ayo's been excellent. Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois. He's taken over for Lonzo. Fantastic. But he's a rookie. Rookies aren't used to the playoffs. They ain't used to this. It's really more of a experience thing for Ayo. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, DeMar and Levine can carry, but sometimes the Bulls get too ISO happy, and Embiid's going to just cook them in the paint, and Harden might cook them, and they're going to call fouls for Embiid and Harden because they lead the league in fouls. So I'm going Sixers in that game. Bucks and Raptors. I love the Raptors. I don't hear enough about them. I think they have a great young team. They have Scotty Barnes. They got Van Vliet. They got Siakam. They got Trent Brown Jr. Or Gary Trent Jr., my bad. Gary Trent Jr. And they got a great team in Toronto. I think they're going to be swept. I don't see them beating the Bucks in this series, but I think they'll put up a fight. It's going to be a dogfight between these two teams. I think that's going to be an excellent series. Definitely one I will tune into. But stopping Giannis is a whole different ball game. And if you trap him, he's got shooters all around him. They got great defense in Milwaukee. I see them winning this series. And then for the Cavs and Celtics series, the Celtics have been balling. Everybody's saying they should have traded Tatum or Jaylen Brown at the beginning of the season at the trade deadline. Man, could they be more wrong? And none of us saw them being the number 2 seed in the East. I sure in the hell did. And they came out of nowhere, just started setting the world on fire, and really just showing that, nah, we ain't going to trade these guys. These guys have been balling. They've been playing well. They're young, both under 25, I think. And I see the Celtics advancing to play the Bucks. So now we have the Sixers and the Heat, and that's going to be a great series. I mean, they match up very well. Every game they have is usually a pretty good one. I know the Heat lost, I think, to the Sixers when they didn't have Embiid or Harden, but I mean, I think the Heat are just ready for the playoffs. I think they're just kind of ready. I know the regular season, once you get in that top seed and you're comfortably there, I know some teams kind of fall asleep and kind of don't try as much or whatever, but this is really a tough series to predict. I mean, I see the Heat winning that series. I know Embiid. They're going to make Embiid and Harden just pass the ball to everybody else, and it's going to be up to guys like Maxey and Tobias Harris to step up. And Tobias Harris has struggled badly since Harden's got to Philadelphia. So I see the Heat. Their defense is going to carry. The defense carries you a long way in the playoffs. And the Heat have the best defense in the league. They know how to trap. They know how to blitz. They know how to run zone. And it's going to be tough to score against them. I know Embiid and Harden might make it look easy, but I mean, when you have guys like P.J. Tucker, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and all them on your team, defenders, Lowry leads the team in charge calls. It's going to be tough. That's going to be a real tough team to beat. So I'm going Heat advance to the conference finals. And the Bucks and Celtics, another great series. I see the Bucks winning that. I mean, it might be a close series. The Celtics always get so close and never seem to fully, advance. But I'm going Bucks. I just think Giannis is just so unstoppable this year. He's an MVP candidate again. He's starting to develop a jump shot. It's just looking dangerous. It really is looking dangerous. And I don't see any team in the East besides the Heat and maybe the Sixers beating the Bucks. So then we have the Heat and the Bucks in the conference finals. Winner plays the Suns in my predictions. I'm going to go Miami Heat. I'm for real on this Heat team. I've seen them kill my Bulls numerous times with the defense they run. I've watched them against other teams. They can shoot. They can defend. They have leaders. And I think they're just going to... I see the series going 6-7 games with the Bucks. Heat pull away. Them and the Suns. And for my finals prediction, Heat and the Suns. Two great teams. Two teams I came into the year telling everybody I know, watch out for the Heat. And everybody was like, nah, man, the Bucks and Nets are going to walk away with the East. It's a cakewalk in the East. They ain't going to be doing nothing. Boy, were they wrong. I'm going to go the Suns. I'm on board with the Suns. I want to see them win a championship. I want to see Chris Paul win a championship. I want to see Booker finally get some validation with the championship. I'm going Suns, but it could go Heat. I'm really 50-50 on it, but I'm leaning more towards Suns. So I want to see CP3 win a championship. I would love to see Jimmy Butler and company win a championship, but I've always loved Chris Paul's game. I love the pass first point guards. And that's my prediction. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like and comment down below some of your playoff predictions. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.